visit to Ethiopia, and after meeting with the Ethiopian Prime Minister Hailemariam Desalegn, Addis Ababa announced that it would begin diverting the course of the Blue Nile. Morsi had met with Desalegn on the 28th of May during the course of the African Union Summit to discuss the impact of the Grand Renaissance Dam project on Egypt's share of Nile water. The diversion of the Blue Nile is part of the process required to build the Renaissance Dam, which many water experts believe it will severely reduce Egypt's share of Nile water. We're joined today in this segment by Dr. Heba Beshbishy, assistant lecturer of the political science. Hello and welcome to the show.
Hello, welcome to you.
Hello, Dr. Heba.
Yes.
The first question would be, what led, or what are the reasons that led to a weaker role for Egypt in Africa?
The role of Egypt, I think we have a big role in Africa, and Egypt relations between African states and Egypt is very good relations, but this need some efforts from the Egyptian Africanists, like every Africanist has a research about Africa. And I think we must have the highest benefit from these relations, because we have the River Nile and we have all of ancient Egypt as related between Egypt and the Sudan, African nations, and the people in Africa like Egypt anymore. I think this is the related between Egypt and African states. I think today or nowadays we have some crisis with Ethiopia, because we have heard about the Renaissance Dam. I think that's not a big problem if we have a good view about this, and we will try to understand the point of view of Ethiopian, and try to understand what this needs from this Renaissance Dam, and try to achieve a just uses from the River Nile water from us and the Africans in this country.
So there are different perspectives that we can tackle this topic or look at it. One of them is technical, how this would be affecting the share or the quota of Egypt in terms of the Nile water. But there is another perspective, like you mentioned, which is mutual interest between the African countries, and also the political side of the story.
Yeah.
Now, the resolutions are kept on the table are several, and people are a little bit worried about the part, and it might be very soon to relate what's happening in terms of shortage of water with the Renaissance dams. So they are sort of thinking about how far would it go when the Renaissance dam would be there.
I think I have some different perspective about this case. I think must Egypt to offer all of the aids, just like a financial aid and technical aid or assistance to this country, and try to be the key partner in this dam, not just to say no, you're forbidden to have a useful from this river. This river in this country must be to use, and I think we try to have a must benefit of this river, not just for us, but about Africans. They are sharing us in this river.
Yes.
Yes. And this my convention. This my thought. I think that this river, it's for all of us Africans, from Egypt until the Ethiopian people.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dr. Heba. But how would you see the official reaction of Egypt?
I think the official action it's very good, like to me. I think they are states step everything like this, and you will have the more benefit from the river, and we will be offer all of assistance. I think this is the good step from Egypt. Must make our thought, our view about the African. They have needs. What they need from this river. Try to help them to have the most benefits, and to help them not like aid. I say must cross this period from aid, no, to be assistance, to be sharing, to be cooperation.
Between,
Cooperation between all of the states of the River Nile.
If we
Yes.
discuss the political view now, if you look at the previous agreements 100 years ago almost, there was a treaty or an agreement
Yes.
under the British supervision.
Yeah.
And it all said that Egypt will be having the existing what they call as the lion's shares quota, which is approximately between
Yes.
Sudan and Egypt is around 90%, if I'm not mistaken. So looking at this, lion's shares quota and the previous treaty, so is it a state today from a political perspective, as a political science expert,
Yes.
is it a state where the treaty is being revised or the treaty should be in action?
I think we must have a new treaty between us and all of the states in the River Nile. All the treaty between British and this is imperialism. This is a force and imperialism that's not for us, not coming from us, not from Africans. Just I know and I feel that we must have a new treaty between and a new agreement between all of the states on the River Nile to have the needs of these states, what they need, what they want, how to use the River Nile, the most benefits, to have the most useful from every state in the River Nile.
So, Doctor, it's not right to escalate things between Egypt and Ethiopia now,
I think they
especially
have
militarily
yes,
between both countries.
yes. I think they have a special crisis in some way for all the time, from the old nation people between Egypt and Ethiopian. I think they have some like conflict. It's a small conflict, not a conflict is the forces and have a weapon. No, just a small conflict between us and the African in Ethiopian. I think the Africans and the Ethiopian people have some specialist thing, have a specialist nationality, have a specialist thinking. We must to have a researcher about their and understand what they are needing and what they are want from Egypt. And we have a balance between Egypt and Ethiopian. There are two forces in Africa. Egypt is a force, a God force, and Ethiopian is a God force, and they have a different mentality in Africa. And they are, think about they are leaders in Africa. In any way, their history speak about leaders of Ethiopian, and we must realize this point and understand how to do with them, and take some steps for have a unity in Africa, and speak about African unity, speak about African dream for Renaissance. That we have 50 years for the African unity, just a dream. We haven't to have achieved this dream to be alive. Yes.
If we move back to the question of the Nile water dispute, which has been across several countries and has existed for long years now. I think it escalated the past 3 years, even before the revolution, or maybe 4 years. But looking at this dispute and looking at the state of relations between Egypt and the current Nile basin countries,
Yes.
how are you seeing the relations today, and in terms of from a political point of view?
Anyway, I think the relations today is not good, and we
Across
have
the
some
Nile
crisis
basin
between all of African states. We have a crisis with Ethiopian. We have a crisis with south of Sudan. We have a crisis with north of Sudan. All of these countries must be to change our policy about these countries and understand what they want, and to try to be some in some cooperation with these countries in any ways, not in political, just in development.
Yes.
Yes, political and in economic integration. Try to have some way of economic integration. I see the period of Abdel Nasser. It's very good period for Africans, and each one in Egypt understand that Egypt is the one way for Africa. But nowadays, I think we have some problem. We can't realize what they want, and we don't understand what is African. If we see someone is black, we say is no, I can't.